Oh, I say! Messi. Oh, brilliant skill from Lionel Messi. Surging forward with real menace here. Brilliant from Messi. Oh, what a goal that is!
Yes, good afternoon. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Just waiting on Tobes, fashionably late as always. So as soon as he gets here, we will start talking about tomorrow's game. Tottenham away at Bournemouth. It's been a very good start to the season, hasn't it? I mean, I think it's been a very good start to the season. 4 points out of 6. Brentford away, one of the best teams at home in the league last season. Man United at home. Obviously, Man United out of sorts, but it's still Man United. They're still a top football club. And to boot, we've played some lovely football that has gone along with that. Now, the question is, can Tottenham Hotspur carry that form over into the game with Bournemouth? Here is Tobes. I'm going to get him a watch for his birthday because the one on his wrist clearly isn't working. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. Sorry for my lateness. I know. It's my reputation precedes me. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Better late than never. Listen, Tobes, we'll get into the Bournemouth game very, very shortly. But look, a lot has happened at Tottenham in a very short space of time with a new manager, a new philosophy, centre halves, playmakers. What do you make of the whole pre-season so far? Before we get to Bournemouth, what do you make of Tottenham and the philosophy they've implemented and the players we signed? Where are we at as a club?
I think we're in... The thing is, with Spurs, you don't want to speak too positively, right? Because I feel like Spurs are the team where like they're the type to rest on their laurels. They take a little bit of positive news and try and make it stretch for a long period.
Yeah.
But I would... To be fair, the preseason was mixed in terms of like the organization of fixtures, the amount of fixtures played. I'll start off with the negatives first because I feel like if I start off with the positives, it's a bit too positive. I'll start off with some of the negatives first. I still feel like the squad's still bloated. I feel like we still haven't been able to move on as many players as we want. So far, the only players that have left on a permanent transfer are Harry Kane and Harry Winks. I think that's the only Harry
just
Winks.
those two.
Joe Rodon left on a loan without an obligation, which turns into an obligation if they get promoted. And then of course the 2 loans for Troy Parrott and announced today Alfie Devine. So I feel like first and foremost there's still a lot of deadwood in the team that we still need to move on, and it's getting closer and closer to the window. We still haven't moved them on, so of course that's a worry. I do also feel like we didn't play as many preseason matches as I would have liked for the new manager. But that being said, negatives aside, I'm really happy with what I've seen in terms of how the team wants to play in possession. I feel like you saw the guy make wholesale changes in every single fixture we had in the preseason, with exception of Shakhtar. And not once did the team change in terms of the style that they were trying to play or the effectiveness of that style, right? We saw it against Lion City Sailors. We saw it against West Ham. Like, the team were very, very comfortable playing with the ball. And I remember when he basically sent the entire B and C team to Barcelona, Spurs were very comfortably playing their stuff against a Barcelona team with Frankie de Jong, with Pedri, with the likes of Koundé or I can't even remember.
Araujo,
or whatever. So, like, they were comfortable, right? And I feel like that's the constant positive I can give Spurs so far, is that they look relatively comfortable playing the style that Ange Postecoglou wants them to play. And I think that's testament to the work that the manager has done in such a short space of time. He's getting people to be a lot more expressive, and it's allowing people to see players that aren't good enough somehow still contribute to this system. But it also annoyingly makes people think that because players that aren't good enough played relatively decent in this system that, oh my God, new lease of life. They're good enough.
Yeah.
They're
We've
this.
got to keep them. Yeah,
Exactly.
they're like new
Exactly.
signings. We don't need any new
Exactly.
signings. We've got them.
Exactly. We don't need, you know, the usual spiel. So we
Yeah.
saw it with Davison Sanchez. Sanchez had a really good game against Barcelona, came on, did okay against Brentford. All of a sudden, oh, we need to keep Sanchez. Keep Sanchez. Oh no, he's way more suited to this style. All of this stuff, man. It's just so it's been mixed. It's been mixed. So, but there's been positives, there's been negatives, but as of today, the word I would use is mixed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been an interesting window, isn't it? In terms of, I think when a lot of people rate a transfer window, they tend to rate it purely via who's come in. And if we look at that front, I think it's been okay. I won't get overboard about it. I think Van der Ven and Maddison are top deals. I think those two are going to be real good. I think they're going to be greats for this football club. I think all the other signings for me, I don't want to be too negative about it. Felt quite easy to do. In Solomon on a free, Vicario was cheap. Valise and Phillips is young, really young players who probably won't play a lot this season. I still feel there's that need for one or two more first team players, one or two more, whether that be in the forward line, another defender, so that, like you said, so that we don't have to go back to seeing Dyer or Sanchez.
Yeah.
But like you say, the worry for me and what drags this, I don't do out of 10 for transfer windows because it bites you in the backside. But what would drag that score for me down significantly, like you said, it's only Harry Winks of the Deadwood that has been sold. So how much of a worry is that for you that it is only Winks? Obviously we've seen Roden go on loan. Harvey White, not Harvey White. Alfie Devine's gone on loan today. Troy Parrott went on loan yesterday. And now a lot of talk about Spence going out on loan to Leeds United. Is that a worry for you that they're all going to be loans and none of this is actually shifting Deadwood?
Yes, it is a worry because it's like we've been in this situation before, man. We've been in this situation the last 3 years, and it's like Endom has gone on loan twice and still here. Lo Celso's gone on loan twice, still here. Do you get what I'm saying? Joe Rodon went on loan last season. He's now going on loan again this season. I think it's annoying because it's like the market to sell some of our players is not that high, and it's mainly down to the fact that some of these guys just aren't good enough. But also I feel like sometimes Spurs just don't know how to cut their losses, and I think that's an attitude that comes from the top down. And I think if we did know how to do that, then we would be in a much better place now. So what I mean by that is we have Dyer, Sanchez, and Lloris, all with a year left on their deal. All players that clearly aren't going to play a significant part in our season, right? If you can't sell them this window, but you can't play them and they're not good enough, why don't you just terminate their contracts? There's a year left on their deals. Why don't you just... Lloris, I can't believe we're still here. Lloris signaled his intent to leave months back. Months back, he said he wants to leave. Like, we just need to be sensible. Spurs are looking out for a fee. Nobody
and he didn't even go, Tobes. He didn't even go on the pre-season. He didn't go.
Exactly.
And he's still there.
Exactly. Lloris has made his intention clear. Like, he wants to try a new challenge, right? And I'm not one of these people who bashes Lloris. Like, I can appreciate what Lloris has done for the club, and I feel like whether good, whether bad, Lloris has served this club well enough for a long period of time that you can at least terminate this guy's contract and give him more freedom of movement in terms of what club he wants to choose, right? I thought this would have been done months ago. We're still here, and it's like Spurs are asking or holding out for a fee. Just get rid of him. If you terminate his contract now, come to a suitable agreement, yes, it may be a relatively annoying payoff, right? But that's at least 100K a week off the books for the next year or so, and it's one less player to add to a bloated squad. Same for Dyer, same for Sanchez. Dyer, I'm seeing that he's been linked with Tosin, with the Tosin deal, Tosin Adarabioyo from Fulham, right? And Fulham potentially are interested in him. Try and make something happen there. I just feel like the sooner Spurs be more consistent in accepting when to take losses, the better. Because I think I've always felt that, like, even under Paratici, I wanted him. I didn't like the fact that he was a criminal, and I wanted him gone, to be fair. But I've always appreciated that Paratici actually signed Spurs some good players. Not every single player was good, but he signed Spurs a substantial amount of good players. And I felt like in that period, you've seen glimpses of where Spurs can be ruthless. You saw Spurs terminate Aurier's contract when he didn't want to sign a new deal. In the summer of 2021, they terminated his contract. Matt Doherty in January last year, we knew that we wanted to get this guy out the door. They terminated his contract, right? When with Sissoko, Alderweireld, etc., we were able to negotiate exits at low fees. Sissoko to Watford, Alderweireld to, I think it was Royal Antwerp. I can't even remember. But why can't we just do the same now with some of these players? I get that they're 25, 26, 27, but they're just not highly sellable assets.
I get it, right? Like I get it with Ndombele, who's £10 million a year. I get it. You rip up that contract with 2 years to go, you're talking about 20 million as a brand new signing. But on the flip side of that, I look at it and go, well, hang on. If he's going to stay here for 2 years, that's £20 million in salary that you're paying out. Wouldn't you rather try and come to some sort of deal with him now to say, listen, you've got no chance of playing? You know, the same with Dyer, the same with Lloris. Guys, we're not registering you. You are not wanted at the football club. Thank you for everything, but go and get your agents to find you a move because you are not going to be playing football. And there's that part of me, Tobes, that really hopes that some of these people would choose playing football over running down a contract because they're on 100, 200 grand a week. But this is the situation we put ourselves in. We keep giving Davinson Sanchez new contracts. We keep giving Eric Dyer, Ben Davis. All these people keep getting new contracts, Tobes. People keep finding excuses for them. Then when we can't get rid of everyone, everyone's like, oh my God, we've got to get rid of them. Why won't they go? Well, they're on great money.
Yeah. And I remember last season as well, Last season, one of the longest going narratives, which was thankfully put to bed towards the back end of the season, even before Ange came in, was Dyer getting a new deal. Do you remember that chat? For the first part of last year, Spurs are trying to open talks to give this guy an extension in his contract. Yeah. Why? Why are you giving him more time at this club? Why? Even if he had Savva, even if he had a good season last year, that should not result in you keeping him for another year. You know that this is a guy that has proven time and time again that he's not good enough to be a starting centre-back. When does it come a point where you have to separate yourself as a club from players that you know are not good enough for you? The thing is, it's jarring, man. It's jarring. But I'm looking at our list now, and I actually think if Spurs are willing to lower their fees, then we can get players gone. Like, I feel like there is a market, for me, there is a market where someone can spend, I don't know, like £10 million or euros on Sergio Reguilon, in my opinion. We've seen Atletico Madrid make a bid for Højbjerg. I think they're still in talks with Højbjerg now. I feel like if the club set a 20 million euro price tag, which is what Atletico are willing to pay, then you can get rid of Højbjerg. I was saying a couple of weeks back that you might be able to get more. Cool. But at this point in time, I don't even care anymore. Like, it's not my money. I don't care. What is an extra 3 or 4 million euros in case, just for the sake of keeping, potentially not gaining that sale and having to keep a player for a year? It just doesn't.
Yeah. I agree. Look, I hear it from all sides, right? So I hear the argument that, well, listen, if we keep them and just loan them out, someone pays their salary. Well, listen, that's not always the case, because if you let these players go, when we let Ndombele go, no one's paying 200 grand a week for him to be on loan. We're still going to have to subsidise. For me, I think it's more about a fresh start, not just for those players, Tobes, but do we want to keep kicking this can down the road? Are we just going to loan everyone out again this window? Then we get to next summer and surprise, surprise, we're doing this whole game again where it's, well, we need to get rid of him. Why? Well, why would he go? He's only got 1 year left and he's on 200 grand a week, blah, blah, blah. At some point, we need to be ruthless. right? It can't be good for the squad morale either, can it? To constantly have these players that everyone knows aren't wanted, but constantly there. Surely to move on, we need some clarity and the deadwood to finally go.
Yeah, we do. But I think to Andrew's point, right? Like because of the uncertainty in terms of like whether the club will be able to move those players on or not, he doesn't want to be that cutthroat because he doesn't know like which bridges he will have to walk across again if the season starts and we're not able to move on an Eric Dyer, we're not able to move on a Sergio Reguilon and so on and so forth, man. I'm counting it down now. And the thing is, like, I'm annoyed, I'm worried, but I'm not like stressing over it because I do think in the end we will see, in my opinion, at least 5 or 6 players leave the club within now and next what is it, next Friday or Saturday? I believe that.
So you think in 7 days we're going to rip up 5 or sell
no,
5 or 6 players?
I'm saying leave the club. I'm not saying rip up contract. I'm saying leave the club on loan.
Okay, right. Okay, loan as well.
Like,
right. Okay,
exactly. So I can see that even worst case scenario, I feel like they'll leave on loan. I can see Tanganga definitely leaving on loan. I can see Reguilon leaving on loan. Jet Spence, I can see him either leaving on loan on a permanent deal. I feel like Højbjerg will leave personally, and I feel like they will do something with that Lloris contract. Like they have to do something with that Lloris contract. They have to. The rest is up in the air. Like I can't guarantee you what's going to happen with Sanchez. Can't guarantee you what's going to happen with Dyer. Who else have I missed?
So you've got Lloris, Dyer, Sanchez, Tanganga,
mention
Højbjerg,
mention all of them. Mention Spence.
Other than that, Rodon's gone on loan already, hasn't he? Devine's gone out.
Cess is injured, so we're not gonna be able to move him on this window, which is annoying.
Things we've got a lot of midfielders there as well, Tobes, and we'll move on to Bournemouth in a second. But you've got Ndombele. Obviously, there are clubs that want Lo Celso, but now Lo Celso wants to stay. You've got Serge Reguilon. You've got Perisic, who was wanted earlier in the window. Sessegnon and Hill, who have probably had a bit of a reprieve because of their injuries. Yeah. So there's a lot going on there, mate. But all in all, there's a lot to be done. And as always, Spurs have left it to the last, I would say 7.5 days, but we're now down to nearly 5 p.m. on a Friday evening. So you've got 7 days and an evening to get this stuff done. And apparently, Tobes, it's just Daniel Levy dealing with all this. So again, if we done this poorly, have we set ourselves up to fail?
Yes, I do. But I also feel like I do think we've basically left it too late, right? But I also feel like it's difficult to move on players. Like you said, I feel like there's both sides to it. Like a lot of fans will just be like, oh, just get rid of them. And I do think that is the case for, I would say, at least a good 3 or 4 where they've got a year left on their deal. They're not on big wages. They're not players they're not players where there is like a huge market to sell them in. But there are others where it's going to be difficult for the club to just rip up their contracts. So they have to look for a sale. They have to look for a good enough loan. I just think the club just need to be precise, right? Like, I think if we weren't normally in this position, I could sympathize, right? But the problem is we are always in this position. Last summer, in January, the summer before, January before, we really struggle at moving players on. And it never used to be like this. Spurs were actually pretty decent at recouping money. Money from player sales. Now, it's not like that at all. Now it's a struggle. And I think I feel like that alone is a damning indictment on the caliber of some of the players that we have in the squad. They're just not that sellable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, before we do move on to talk about Bournemouth tomorrow, one transfer I want to talk to you about, which this guy's name has been going around and around for what seems like 7 or 8 weeks now. I want to talk about Tosin Adarabioyo. I believe that's the right way to say his surname. Look, There was the whole, will it be him and Van de Ven? Will it be him and Tapsoba? Will it be Tapsoba and Van de Ven? His deal has just fallen through, apparently, with Monaco. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's homegrown. For me, I think he would be a perfect backup choice to Van de Ven and Romero. 20 odd million, 1 year left on his contract. Do you think this is a deal that Spurs should be looking to pursue?
I mean, if they're not going to pursue Tapsoba, which would be my preferred choice, then Tosin is not he's not bad backup. Like you're right. We've been discussing this for 2 months now, and I think everyone's preferred duo would be Tosin. No, sorry, everyone's preferred duo would have been Tapsoba and Van de Ven. We all said that, right? But Tosin ticks a lot of boxes that satisfies the club's needs, and also ticks a few boxes that satisfy our needs as fans on the football pitch.
Yeah.
Right. From the club perspective, you said it, homegrown, which satisfies the quota which the club are looking to increase as they look to try and get back into European competition. Age, 26 years old, which means that they stick to the 26 and under purchasing policy that they're going with over the past couple of years. I think Perisic and Fraser Forster are the only two players to deviate from said policy over the last 3 years. And when we look at what we want as fans, right, he's someone who has got the Premier League experience. He's someone who is comfortable with the ball at his feet as well. So I think my thing for me with Tosin is I don't think he's that good at defending. I don't think he's bad at defending. I think he can be someone who can definitely be in the mix in rotation. But my feeling is I believe that Spurs can definitely do better than Tosin. However, I don't think
will they pay for better? That's the
exactly. That's
we can do better. Will they pay for better?
Yeah, exactly. We don't know if they'll pay for better, which they should be paying better. After selling Harry Kane, they should be paying for better. But at the very least, right, this is not a player that I'm like, oh my God, I don't want him. Right? Normally, when with Spurs, when it comes to an alternative, you know it, Savva. When it comes to alternative options, they're scary options, right?
Yeah, you go, oh God, no, please, like long leg, please no, no. Tosin makes you feel like, okay, let me put this to you, Tobes, right? If I said to you, let's be fair, last year, our centre-back options were an out-of-form Romero, and then awful players in Dyer, Tanganga, Rodon, Sanchez, Longley, right? If I was to say to you this year that our four options are an inform Romero with Van de Ven, Tosin, and then Ashley Phillips as fourth choice to bring through and start getting a few minutes so that he can grow and learn with us. Yeah, you take that, wouldn't you? As that
Absolutely.
4 versus the 6 from last year?
Absolutely. I don't really like comparing like players who are nowhere near the standard we need to players who are decent but may not. Like I don't like comparing like apples and apples, because it's like Dyer was so bad last year and Sanchez was so bad last year that anything is going to be an uplift. But even comparing to the average centre back, right, in the Prem, Tosin Adarabioyo is calm. Like I've never watched it. Even when Fulham went down a couple of years back when they initially got him, I've always thought this guy was a decent centre back. I've never looked at him and thought, oh, you're awful. Like he's decent, but that's just it for me. He's decent, and truthfully, I believe and I know Spurs can do better than Tosin. But at the same time, if that's the option that Spurs are going to take, that's not a bad option for the team. Having him as a third choice at his age and where he is at this stage of his career is calm. He can play in a higher line. He's comfortable with the ball. He's right-footed as well, right? So it opens up the possibility for him to play right centre-back along his usual left-sided centre-back position. So that's not a signing that I'm going to be looking at and screaming, oh, no, I don't want him. I remember when they had Anderson. Obviously, he's not got the pace to play in our front line, but Anderson is a good centre-back. Joachim Anderson, they had him a couple of years back, and I was saying back then, I would be calm with Anderson in rotation at Spurs because he's competent on the ball and he's a competent defender.
Big up, absolutely. Listen, we're about to go into the Bournemouth game now. Big up to everyone that's inside the house, all the channel members, anybody just watching for the first time, returning faces. Please smash the like buttons. Only 104 likes. I've been speaking to a lot of Spurs YouTubers lately who've been saying that the likes within the Spurs YouTube community is always so low compared to others. I don't know if you see that, Tobes. When I'm on with Arsenal fans and Liverpool channels, they like Spurs. We're like Levy. Big up. And also, please, this is not the truth. Do not listen to this account. I haven't blocked a single person during this show. This is not true in any way, shape, or form. Big up. Tobes, let's look at the Bournemouth game tomorrow. 4 points from 6. I don't know what you think. Brentford away, who had one of the best Premier League home records in the country. Man United, all right, they're not firing all cylinders, but it's still Man United, one of the big four. 4 points tomorrow could make it 7, and that would be an exceptional start to the season, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. It really would. All things considered, no Kane, completely new back line with exception of Romero, new goalkeeper, new midfield composition, new attacking setup. It would be good. It would be very good. 2 away games as well. It would be good. 2 away games sandwiched in between a home fixture against a Big Six opposition that we didn't beat last season. It would be good. And I think it's the type of return that any new manager would want, right? 7 out of 9 points. So I think it's important for us to go out and get this result, man. I think we've been dealt a slightly annoying hand here in the fact that like 3 of our opening 4 Premier League games are away from home, because next week we play Burnley away from home as well. But listen, we have a manager who likes making lemonade out of lemons. So I hope that the team can make lemonade out of lemons as well, man. Let's go and get 3 points this weekend. We have to win.
I feel like you've heard that somewhere, and now you're using that as your own.
What's that?
Your own
Lemonade.
Lemonade, lemons.
I have, but it's not my saying. It's not my saying, but I do love it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So just to confirm what Tobes was saying, we have got. Let's have a look. I'll share my screen. Let's have a look at some of these games that we've got coming up. Let's share the screen. Hopefully everyone can see that. Hopefully that's not too small. Let's get rid of that comment. So you can see there that we have got, we've had the Brentford game, we've had the Man U game, followed by Bournemouth away, Burnley away, and then Sheffield United home and Arsenal away. So again, a couple of home away games. But let's be fair. If the position we're in now, Tobes, with 4 points from 6, beat Bournemouth, beat Burnley, then it's a very good start to the season, isn't it? 10 from your opening 12. So it's in our hands to... Listen, it's early days and I'm too old and ugly to be worrying about, oh my God, we're in a title race, all that. But just to put yourself in a little pack that are going to try and get away from the rest, right? To give yourself some points so that you're not one of those teams who has a start of 2 points out of 5 games and everyone starts going, oh my God.
Yep. I think there's a positive mood right now, and all it takes is one speed bump to basically flip things upside down. So us winning would be good to keep the momentum going. And I feel like I think you said this on streams as well, and I've watched this on your channel as well, that like a lot of people don't really expect anything from Spurs. So we can just keep doing our thing. We can just keep ticking along. And when you look at those fixtures that you just presented now, yes, a couple of them are away from home, which is annoying, but they're relatively favorable fixtures for Spurs that can allow them to have a stronger start possible before we encounter the really, really tough games, right? So by tough, I mean Arsenal away. That's the standout. If Spurs can go to Arsenal away we've won one, we've drawn one now. So we play Bournemouth on Saturday, then we play Burnley away, then we play Sheffield United after the international break, right? If we get 3 more points to our 4, if we get 3 more wins to add to our 4 points, that's 13 points out of a possible 15 right? 13 out of a possible 15 heading into that Arsenal game. That gives the team confidence. That gives the team some confidence. Listen, I'm not saying we're going to go there and win, right? For me, I've learned viciously that predicting a win away to Arsenal is just a fool's game now. So I just don't bother with it. However, it gives the team some confidence. I'd rather go into that game with confidence, the team high off life, than down in the dumps and stuttering and the bubbles burst, right?
It's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one because we're guilty of it as YouTubers. We bring up the next 5 games and go, right, how many points do you reckon we should be getting from the next 5? But you can never tell, right? Because injuries happen, red cards in games, you know, teams have a freak result. But having said that, we go away to Bournemouth tomorrow, who on paper, I think Bournemouth have done a few nice little bits in the transfer windows lately. But I still look at that 11, Tobes, and I think to myself, if we are serious about a team that wants to get back into Europe, let's not go crazy, just to get back into European football, and we are a team that wants to be feared, then I don't think we should be scared about playing a team that going forward is Anthony, Solanke, Billing, who I like. Yes, Semenyo, good players, but realistically, this should be something that we go there and think, we've got this, right? What do you make of the actual game tomorrow? Bournemouth away. What are you expecting from them as an opposition?
I think they're going to carry a threat going forward, man. I really do. I know they're not the strongest of teams in the Prem, but there's a little something there with Bournemouth, right? There's a little something there with Bournemouth. They got some football manager prodigy type players. They got Zabani at the back, who's the young Ukrainian centre back that's highly rated. They got Hamed Traore, who they signed from, I think, Sassuolo as well. They've got a little couple of pieces. Obviously, they signed Alex Scott, who's injured, can't play. So they've got a couple pieces that they've put in their team that can allow them to play a better brand of football this upcoming season. But in the end of the day, I still feel like there are gaps in that team that Spurs can definitely exploit. Like Dominic Solanke, he's a good physical presence up top, and I feel like he's got decent technical quality, but he's not a bagsman. Let's be real. It's the commentator's curse, isn't it? I have to touch wood here, right? But even if he scores against Spurs, he's not prolific. He's not a prolific player. I look at the defense. There's still holes in it. I know they signed Max Aarons, but I said this on my preview today. Max Aarons is not a good defender. Sorry, I've been watching this guy for years. For whatever talent he's got on the ball, when it comes to defending, he's not that good, right? So I'm not expecting an easy game. I'm expecting Spurs to struggle. And truth be told, I think we've only 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to think of all the years we've gone to Bournemouth. There's only really been 2 years, I would say, 2 years where we won with devastating effect. That was the first year we went there when we beat them 5-1, and then the third year we went there when we beat them 4-1, and I think Harry Kane hobbled off injured, right? All the other games we've had there, it's always been draws, losses, or sneaky wins. Last year we won 3-2. There was another year, I think. So their pitch is small. Their ground is small. So it's not a game where we're going to have acres and acres of space. And I feel like with the way we're playing now, we're going to look to try and dominate possession and try and camp ourselves in their half. So they're going to obviously try and make it difficult for us, right? They're going to make it difficult for us, and they've got the players that can hurt us in transition. So we just need to win, man. I'm saying all this, right? Just to give respect to
Bournemouth. Find a way to win, right?
We just need to win, honestly. I don't want to hear any excuses. I really don't. Just go and win, please.
Well, I said to Henry just now, we was doing a show on his channel, and I said to Henry that I've got a feeling that tomorrow's game is going to pan out with Bournemouth being the home team coming out flying at us. First 5 minutes, you know what these I don't want to be disrespectful, Tobe. The smaller teams, should we say the smaller teams at home, crowd will be pumping, small pitch. I think they'll come flying at us for the first 5-10. And then I think once Basuma start to get their foot on the ball a little bit, I then expect to see Tottenham dominate. The question for me is, yes, we've scored 2 goals in each of our opening 2 games. Question for me, and obviously we touched upon this and we had a disagreement on WhatsApp earlier. obviously it was okay because you acknowledged you were wrong afterwards. So I think that's the important thing that happened in that conversation. Just kidding. Look, we scored 2 goals in both games. It is imperative at some point. It doesn't really matter where goals come from, but at some point, that front three have got to put the biscuit in the basket, as my best mate says, right? Yeah. Starting tomorrow, are we expecting the forwards to get in on the act, or are we going to see more centre-back headers and
they have to,
players from midfield?
They have to. They have to get in on the act tomorrow. I think, especially in, as I said, very tight, congested pitch as well. Long gone are the days where we're relying on. Obviously, set pieces are good. It's good to score from set pieces, but we're playing a style now that should, in theory, allow for greater chance creation in open play, and in turn, more often than not, it's the front three that will decide the games. I feel like the attack has been the weakest part of our team so far over our first 2 games. It has, and it needs to improve massively against Bournemouth, right? We need to see way more from Richarlison. We need to see way more from Kulusevski. Even Son. I know, obviously, we spoke about Son this morning, but I actually felt Son was decent against Man United. I thought like he did a good enough job, but I feel like he needs to start scoring. Like they need to, and it's not even just scoring, right? My thing is be aggressive, be disruptive. Like we have these attackers, right? And yet they're not penetrative. Right? They're not giving the defenders enough of a hard time. And that's a problem. And I know it's only 3 games in. So yes, things can evolve over time. But in Richarlison's case, for instance, bro, you stunk out the joint last season. We need to see something soon. Kulusevski, the entire calendar year has been poor. We need to see something soon, right? Son, poor season. I know, obviously, Conte factor, playing with his back to goal, deeper in our half. But bro, Conte or no Conte, Son, by his own standard, was not good enough, far from good enough last season. So they need to give us something different. My thing is just, and I know it sounds crazy saying it, but just be aggressive. Like, even if you ain't got the skill, be aggressive, be willing to take on your man continuously. Richarlison, when you receive the ball, try and keep it for more than 2 seconds. Try and stay on your feet. Try and win some aerial duels. Try and let the centre backs know that you're actually in this game, because the first 2 games, you may as well not have been playing, bro.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I want to come back to the forwards in a second. Just quickly before we do, love this comment. What's tighter, Levy or Tapping Tobe's shirt? Let's be fair, guys and girls. I would be wearing a shirt.
My gym shirt.
Listen, Tobes, if I had a physique like yours, I'd be wearing a fitted t-shirt as well. Listen, this man goes to the gym. This man is in the gym 24 hours a day, don't you know? And a couple of super chats. Big up to Shivraj, who has said, let's go, Savva. Love from India. 3 points tomorrow. Big up to you, my man. Yeah. Big up. Listen, a worldwide reach now, hey? We're going global. 3 points tomorrow. It's got to be, my friend. Worst case scenario, 1, but got to be 3. Really got to be 3. And Morton Barley, big up Gary, has said, Savva, so far Ange not put a foot wrong. Do you agree? Listen, I think not only has he not put a foot wrong probably on the pitch, I think his press conferences, his interviews, I think the way he's spoken to everybody has just been absolutely brilliant, a breath of fresh air. And we will be touching upon this in more detail once we've finished with the Bournemouth game. But thank you so much, you two. If anyone else would like to put in a super chat, please feel free to do so. And keep subscribing, guys. It's been a slower week this week since we hit 10K. So if you would like to subscribe, I'll put the link in the chat. And please feel free to do that. That would be much appreciated. Also, we have a guest, Tapping Tobes is here. So why not go over and subscribe to his channel as well. A very, very good content creator and one of the big 6. One of the big 6, Tobes. You've made it, mate.
No, not yet.
Nah, you made it. Listen, love the big 6, especially my man, Grizz. Listen, Tobes, talking about the front 3, I think you've got a great point there. I think as football fans, we get so drawn into how many have they scored? How many have they assisted? Now, obviously, that's very important.
Yeah.
But I think what I get from what you were just saying is that even when they're not doing that, I think they need to give their defenders a hard time.
Agreed.
Make them think, make them scared, get in behind them, run at them, make them have to really think about how they're defending.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant by being more aggressive?
Bro. Absolutely. They need to make these defenses work, bro. They need to make these defenses work. It's that simple. It can't be as easy as it has been in the last 2 games to lock up our number 9, right? I look at Nketiah against Crystal Palace, for instance, for Arsenal on Monday Night Football. Yes, he missed a bunch of chances, but he caused a lot of problems for Crystal Palace and won Arsenal the penalty. So yes, he may have missed chances, but you can't look back at that game and say that he's impacted his team negatively, because he's contributed to them ultimately winning the game of football. Right? Yeah. Martinelli, again, I hate using Arsenal examples, so I'll probably shift away from Arsenal example soon. But someone like Phil Foden against Newcastle, very tough game. Newcastle, very defensively, very good defensive organization. And he didn't score. He got 1 assist, but he just caused them problems all game long with his dribbling, him wanting to commit plays, him getting the ball and just going at players constantly. That's what Spurs attackers need to do. Right, obviously to a different perspective, because obviously one's playing through the middle and then you got 2 out wide. But in your capacity as the striker or the winger, what can you do to put the defense on edge? What can you do to give the defense a tough day? Because even if you don't score, at the very least, the outcome of your hard work, your endeavors, your approach will result in others getting in on the act.
Yeah. No, you're right. And listen, I know obviously the Arsenal example isn't what Spurs fans want to hear, but I think you're right, because you've got a player like Eddie Nketiah there who isn't a prolific marksman. But when I watched that game versus Palace the other night, he just caused them issues running at them. Like, whether he scored or not, as you said, that isn't what we're talking about. But I think people are finding it just all a little bit too easy at the moment against our forwards. And what's happening is everything's going through Maddison and Basuma, and that's being highlighted. But use that to your advantage. If Maddison's drawing 2 players towards him, go and make yourself available to receive the ball somewhere else. And I'm just not sure that it's quite clicking at the moment, but it could do. Let me ask you, Tobes, for the game tomorrow, Postecoglou has said that James Maddison did train today, and he trained unrestricted, which I'm guessing is no precautions at all, just trained like with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And then you've got, obviously, Sarr came in the last game for Skip, and Porro came in for Emerson Royale. So what are you expecting to see the 11 tomorrow, or are you expecting to go unchanged?
I'm expecting one change, personally. I feel like there will be a change for Maddison. I feel like this is a manager who doesn't like to just gamble on players who look like they're dodgy, or they've only just come back from training, or they're groggy on a football pitch. Like, I feel like he would rather just start the guy who's fresher, and then he can bring on someone like a James Maddison. So I think he's going to keep Pedro Porro in the team. I think for me, Porro has to start this game. Sorry. The type of game we're going to play, where we're going to try and keep the ball. Emerson Royale, I get what he offers from a defensive point of view, but on the ball, sorry, we're going to need someone like Pedro Porro who has the bravery on the ball. Like, he's a better shooter of the ball, better passer, better dribbler, right? So he, for me, should start. Midfield, I feel Lo Celso is going to come in for Maddison, because he played in the left 8 role a lot in pre-season, and I think it's probably the most suitable fit from the group of players that the manager wants to work with, right? And then I think the front 3 will stay as is. I feel like Angie's going to give the front 3 as much time as it needs to click, but there will come a point where he has to make a tough decision, and it's going to hurt someone's feelings, right?
Yeah.
So I think for the first, 3, 4, 5 games, I can see it giving it a run, and if it doesn't improve, I think that's when he's going to make a change.
Yeah, but if someone's just sent me, I'm not going to say a message saying, I talk about Richarlison not scoring goals, but it's just us that he doesn't score for. Listen, I brought it up the other day. This guy has played 10 years as a professional footballer and has got like 85 goals in his career. He averages about 8.5 goals a season. So I don't know what I'm missing. But anyway, listen, just got that sent to me. I thought that was interesting. I make you right, Tobes. I think there will be one change. What I would like to see, though, is I'd love us to see some consistency now with an 11. The fact that we are playing once a week, obviously, we've got cup game midweek, but I would like to start to see us get into some sort of pattern where everyone's getting to know each other. The right-sided fullback and the right-sided winger can build. Same with whether it's Son and Adoji. Same with the midfield three. Bournemouth will be worried about us, right?
They should be. They definitely should be. I think. No, they should, and I think Premier League teams now, and I'm going to give Bournemouth credit here now. I think Premier League teams now with the technology that they have and the depth of analysis that the teams are able to get through, they know a team's strengths and weaknesses, right? The same way Bournemouth did. You saw how Bournemouth were able to neutralize Son and Kulusevski. Brentford. I can see Bournemouth trying to adopt the same methodology, the midfield dropping deep to try and help create a numerical advantage in the 1v1 situations. I can see Bournemouth making this game difficult for Spurs, but I can also see them expressing themselves. This is a team I saw attacking Anfield in the first 50. I didn't watch the full game, but I saw some. I tuned in like midway through the first half, and I saw some of the highlights as well. Obviously, afterwards, this is a team that went at Anfield and went for it, right? So I can see, like you said, I can see the manager being cautious of the threats that we can offer and also going for it. It's their second home game of the season. I can see them. Yeah, I can see them definitely trying to take the game to Spurs in parts.
Yeah. If you had to put a scoreline on this game, I know it's always difficult predicting scorelines, but what would your heart say, or your head, whichever one you want to go with?
2-1 to Tottenham. I think they're going to score, but I think we will score at least 2. I feel like it's either going to end 2-1 Spurs or 3-1 Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. El Dente, too kind, saying Tobes and Savva, the best double act since Berbatov and Keane. I'll take that. And guys and girls, come on, it's 10-5. We're going to go for another 10 minutes, but please smash that like button. We should at least be on 200. We're only on 162. And big up to whoever just subscribed. It's really poor. And big up to whoever did just subscribe. But come on, let's get 4 or 5 more subscribers by the end of the show. And thank you. I noticed a few people said they had just to subscribe to Tobes as well. So keep subscribing to him. The link for both channels is in the chat. So please go over there and subscribe. It's free. I get told off for not telling people it's free. No one's asking you to part with money. It is free. Tobes, let's move away from the Bournemouth game for a second. I want to look at a couple of bits that have been happening today. Obviously, I keep forgetting that Alfie Devine has gone to Port Vale in League One on loan. Mm-hmm. What do you make of that? A lot of people thinking that maybe he was going to actually stay in the first team squad and get some minutes this year, or that maybe he'd go and play for like a top half championship club. It's gone down to League One. Good move for him. Good move for Spurs. Good move all round.
I feel like Spurs could have tried to get him a championship loan because I feel like his talent level, in my opinion, from what I've seen, he looks like a player who could play in the championship right now. But in the end of the day, I'm not going to complain about Spurs getting this guy a loan move so he can play regular minutes. Because every time I've seen Alfie Devine, I've always been impressed. I actually think he's got talent, man. I really do. And I feel like he's a player who, if managed correctly, can definitely become like a big contributor for Tottenham Hotspur in the years to come, right? But he needs minutes. Like he can't just sit around. And I did actually think at a point in preseason, maybe Ange might want to keep this guy around. I don't know. But fair enough, he hasn't. And he's sent him out on loan. And I just hope that he gets ample game time. I hope that he avoids injury. And I hope he rips it up, man, because I genuinely believe that his talent level is good enough to improve Spurs in my opinion, if he's nurtured correctly. I really do. I think he's got big potential.
Yeah. Listen, I do. I think he's a good player. I was a bit surprised. I'll be honest. I thought that he might go to a bit of
Like a
a
championship
higher.
club.
Yeah, I thought he might do. But listen, it is what it is, and let's hope that he rips it up there. Best of luck to him. Another player who's gone out on loan, probably a bit more controversial. And actually, I think it was John. Big up to you. Always in my comments. Big up to you. Really good support of the channel. Was actually me and him were having a bit of a debate on YouTube in the comment section the other day. He was saying, look, why couldn't Troy Parrott have been the next Kane? Had he have been given more minutes or a chance, he could have been. And my response was, if you've got a player that has played under that many managers and not one of them has wanted to give this guy a chance, and you've had that many loans, you've not really scored goals wherever you've gone.
Yeah.
The answer's kind of there, isn't it? And I'm going to get his details up while you talk. But what do you make of Troy Parrott?
He needs to be sold, to be honest. He's just failed promise. I don't even want to say promise because I never really rated Troy Parrott highly. I think there was a point where I was like, okay, maybe this kid might be a little something. Maybe we might play him in an FA Cup game or so. But I've never really been like totally convinced about his talent level or where he lands at Spurs. And I think that's just it. I just don't think he's good enough to become a mainstay in the Spurs team. I don't even think he's good enough to be rotation. So I think Spurs.
I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League, Tobes. I mean, I'm not being harsh, but look, if you look at this, right, and I think for me, what this is more than anything, this should be a reminder to all fans, to all of us as football fans, that just because a club raves about a kid when they're 16, 17, just because they might smash it up at youth level, doesn't mean they're good enough. Now, when you look at this guy, I'm not going to take into account the 4 appearances he had in 2019, 2020. From then on, he's gone down to Millwall, played 14 games in all competitions and not scored a goal. He's then gone down another level to League One, played 18 games and got 2 goals. Last year, he played 47 in all competitions and got 10, only 8 league goals, which is... So this was the year before, in League One, which is okay. I mean, 8 in League One, it's okay. But then last year, again, 34 games for Preston in the Championship and only 4 goals. Nothing about this loan spell, nothing about me seeing him, Tobes, tells me that this is a guy that should be anywhere near the elite level of Premier League football.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, we don't know how many of these appearances are... our starts. So even if you extrapolate, right, still nothing there to say that this is a guy that warrants being given an opportunity at Spurs. Like even Dane Scarlett, his goal record isn't that great, right? But Dane, when I've watched him for Spurs, at least has some sort of physical profile. Right, he's strong, and we don't know. Even Dane Scarlett, I'm not even sure if he's going to make it at Spurs, right? But at the very least, he's younger. He's what, like 2 years younger than Troy Parrott. I just feel like Troy Parrott, 21, you're going to be 22 years old. When you look at his record, when he's gone out on loan, this just screams like a player that's just not going to make it at Tottenham. Like the Harry Kane comparisons aren't even that fair, because I think with Kane, whilst he didn't perform that well for Spurs on his loan spells, he was someone who was a regular overperformer in when he was playing for Tottenham in the under 21 setup, and the coaches saw a marked change in his development, in his physical prowess and his goal scoring to warrant giving him the opportunity. Yeah, Tim Sherwood saw it first, gave him the chance. Then Pochettino saw it and gave him a chance. 2 different managers gave him a chance. There's been how many managers that you mentioned over the last couple of years, and they've all taken a look at our squad, and Troy Parrott has been sent out on loan every time. So for me, it's just we're just wasting our time here if we actually believe that he's going to make it at Spurs. I I think it's a waste of time.
And this is his last year, right? I mean, this is his last year of his contract. I can see him going on loan and then this being see you later. Look, I think the thing is, I love it, right? As football fans and guys and girls, just the last 3 or 4 minutes of the show, please keep smashing that like button. Let's at least get to 200. We're on 181. And thank you to the 2 people that subscribed. If we can get 2 more subscribers, we end the day on 10,340. And keep subscribing to Tobes, fantastic content creator, and also got muscles. I mean, who doesn't like muscles, eh? We love a bit of muscle.
You need to chill, yeah? You need to chill.
Look, listen, you're the one coming on here with your XXX T-shirts.
No,
you know
man.
what I mean? Look, I think, look, John, and again, obviously we had this conversation saying, I remember Kane never got many goals. Look, what I would say, John, is I get it, but, you know, we can apply this argument to everyone. You know, we could apply the Ryan Sessegnon argument to Gareth Bale, right? You know, oh, he didn't hit the ground running. But within 5 years of joining Spurs, Gareth Bale had gone from being a shy kid that couldn't really do well in the first team to being one of the most coveted left-sided players in world football and go to Real Madrid. Ryan Sessegnon's in his 5th season at Spurs and done nothing. So, like, if we take the Troy Parrott, Harry Kane, what I would say, Tobes, is Harry Kane's come around every 15, 20, 30 years. Yep. Players like that.
They're an anomaly.
This isn't...
They're not the standard. They're an anomaly.
Right. This isn't every time a youth striker comes through, you go, oh, there's the next Kane. It doesn't... You know, Liverpool have never created a Gerrard since Gerrard made his debut. They've had good players come through, but not a Gerrard, right? Chelsea at the back. They've not created a John Terry. You know, these players are few and far between, right, Tobes?
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. I think I get the point that that John, I think his name was John. Is it John? That he was. I get the point he was making about giving young players an opportunity, right? But it's about giving the right young players an opportunity. Like, not every young player you give an opportunity to is good enough, right? It's about giving, and I guess that's where the club need to be a bit more not ruthless, but the club, there's definitely an argument for Spurs giving youngsters more minutes, right? That one's clear. Everyone can understand that. But it's also about giving the right youngsters more minutes, right? Because ultimately not every one of these youngsters are good enough to play for Tottenham. And in Troy Parrott's case, it's abundantly clear he's not good enough to play for Tottenham.
Yeah, I think the key thing as well, and we are going to wrap up in about 60 seconds to 2 minutes time. I think the key thing here as well is where we've not really had a solid plan in place for the last 10, 15 years, it's been very difficult to have a pathway for these players to come through. You know, Man City's kids right now will have a pathway because they play the exact same way in their youth team. So they come through the youth team, they play Pep Guardiola's way of football. Same as La Masia. Yeah, you know, if you play a set position at Barcelona's youth team, if you jump up, you play the exact same position. You know your role. You're stepping into senior level, but you know the role. Look, I really hope that Spurs get a few come through the youth team. I really do. Lots of hype around Mikey Moore, who's only 15, 16. We've got to remember.
Yeah, I've heard he's meant to be like the best of his age group or something like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, we just need to see. We just need to see. For me, if you're asking me, gun to my head, which youngsters at Spurs do I have like total belief in? I'm telling you, it's Alfie Devine. I genuinely believe that he's gonna be a player for Tottenham, man. The rest are, for me, still unknown quantities. Velis, I don't know anything about him, so again, I'm gonna have to see what he can do for Spurs when he's given the opportunity, or whether he goes and plays elsewhere. But yeah, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Tobes, thanks so much. People have asked me for your link. So there you go. It is in the chat right now. Here it is. Tap in Tobes. Just go there and you just click a button and it's free. Please remember that every time you watch a show, it is free for you. So smash that like. Please subscribe to people. Tobes, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Absolutely. Listen, always, Tobes. Listen, if you like what you've seen from Tobes, pop over to his show, smash a like, smash a subscribe, and please keep subscribing to myself. One more, we can end the show on 10,340. But as always, thanks for being here. I'll be back tomorrow from 11 a.m. with a live Spurs versus Bournemouth watch along. Please join me there for all the build up. And as always, Come on, you Spurs.